Chris Stewart just decides, Alabama's play-by-play guy, that he's just going to ramble on about the artificial crowd noise that he alleged.
What the? What was he thinking?
Release the hounds.
The Dave Hooker Show.
Keep cool.
A presentation of OffTheHookSports.com.
I'm reminded of the Seinfeld episode. Perhaps somebody can help me with that. It's when the lady heckles him, who's supposed to be one of Kramer's friends. So then he decides to show up and heckle her at her job, which it was one of the best episodes.
I know the exact one you're talking about. I love that one.
He goes, what? You can't take it too much? And this is Chris Stewart, the play-by-play announcer at Alabama, who didn't necessarily double down, but didn't come out and apologize either. Now, he is the one who got things started with the pumped-in crowd noise. Here's what he told WJOX, who I'm sure wanted to stir some stuff up, and good on their part. Said, I didn't think anything about it when I said it. Well, first of all, as a play-by-play announcer, you should be thinking of everything you said. But that's fine. I mean, there are things that I forget on this show, but I put thought into everything that I say. Yeah, it's not just, hey, let's just throw it out there and see what sticks, especially when you're doing play-by-play, which is the most artistic form of broadcasting. What the H brought to you by Medicare Misty, by the way. Open enrollment's open, so you better take care of that when it comes to your Medicare needs. So this is what Stewart said. And somebody with nothing to do decided to go back and find a clip from before our broadcast. I misspoke, but it really wasn't, in theory, off. I said you've got 100,000 and piped in crowd noise, which was not what I should have said. What I should have said is amplified noise, and that's clear. They do it. They've got speakers all over the field, behind our benches, pointing towards the stands. It was extremely loud, and it absolutely adds to the noise level, which was my point, although I may have misphrased, but that's a fact. Here's the fact. Sterl the Pearl handles the DJ duties, but he knows by instructions of the university and the SEC not to be loud when the opposing team has the ball, which is really what we're talking about. We're not talking about when Alabama's on defense. Nothing was too loud then. So I'm sorry, Chris Stewart, you're still wrong. You're still absolutely wrong. Because it was not Sterl the Pearl or piped in noise, artificial noise that affected Alabama. It was 102,000 strong. Period. End of discussion. You come away from that and you say, yes, I misspoke. They do have artificial noise. That's one of the loudest places I've ever been at. Now, if you don't mind, Caleb, I would like to do a quick impression of the very antiquated and outdated pregame that goes on at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Are you ready for this?
Ready. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Alabama fans, are you about ready to go? Okay, so they get excited. They say, yay. And then you get this. Whoa, and you got to go and you got to run it soon. You got to do that. And it's something from Paul Bear Bryant that's so old and the quality's so bad that I've been there 6 times at least, and I have no idea what he is saying. So while you said they're better with the fans, and I'm sure their fans have gotten younger as they've won more, that's what typically happens. But Chris Stewart sounds like, frankly, he's a little bit jealous that Tennessee has a better home field advantage because of the fans, but also because of some of the production that goes into it. And I credit Danny White and all that for the lights and more. I mean, good for them. It's not breaking rules. You're not piping in noise while the opposition has the ball. That's the only issue.
Yes. I mean, look, I totally agree. And the funny thing is when he talked about speakers, every stadium has speakers. Every single one.
Yes.
You know, and Like, that was the weirdest thing to say. And honestly, because of Neyland's age, I've argued in the past that their speaker system is probably one of the more outdated ones in college football. Could actually be upgraded in a lot of ways. So
I think they've upgraded that. I think Sterl the Pearl took care of that.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to add to this story because there's another layer to this, which is Josh Heupel responded and basically talked about the crowd noise. And he said that he talked about that yesterday. He said it's a personal insult to Tennessee football fans that this would happen. And Cole Kubelik also shut down the accusations, and Josh Pate shut down the accusations. They all were there, and they're like, no, they don't pump in crowd noise. That crowd noise is legitimate. But Josh Heupel himself he called it he basically said, hopefully our fans take that personally.
Well, and he said, too, that you should come back even louder after the off week. You should take it personally. And, well, listen, if Chris Stewart misspoke and completely backtracked, that would be one thing. But Josh did acknowledge it, but he said he hadn't heard of it. I don't know that I completely believe that, but he said he hadn't heard of it. And the bottom line is it was loud before they had all the pyrotechnics and all the lights and all that stuff. I mean, you're talking to somebody who went to Neyland Stadium, and Caleb, I don't think I ever told you this, when I was 12 years old and would sell programs so I could go to the game. For some weird reason, my mother agreed just to drop me off in the middle of this 100,000 people when I was 12 years old. But you could go sell programs, and you got 20 cents per program. So you know what my goal was? My goal was to sell enough to get a Coke, which is 10 programs, and that was $2, and I got a free ticket to the game. That was my goal. And you had to find your own seat, and they were darn hard to find, and it was that loud back then. And that would have been 1986, because I would have been 12 years old in 1986. Guys, that was before they did anything in terms of the in-game production. Caleb, it's just loud.
Yes, it's just a loud stadium. And also the way it's designed, it's a bowl that goes straight up. I mean, by the way it's designed, it's going to be loud. I mean, that's the problem with Georgia. I'm not saying Georgia fans are raucous, but there's a empty spot behind one end zone where the noise just travels straight out. I mean, it doesn't. The noise stays in at Neyland Stadium. It's why it's louder. I mean, Georgia and Michigan are probably the two primary programs, right, that have big stadiums and loud fans. But the design of the stadium is going to keep it from being loud on the field.
Right. It's always going to have kind of a glass ceiling. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
The other thing is Neyland's largely concrete and metal, whereas some other places, they have the plastic seats and that sort of thing. So it's cacophonous. I use my big word of the day. But I just think Chris Stewart should just walk it back. I think he should issue a public apology. Maybe we should do that. New poll question. Should Chris Stewart issue a public apology to the University of Tennessee? And then we will go ahead and draft a letter. We'll create a message board post on our YouTube channel where you can express your feelings about him besmirching Neyland Stadium. Because as a guy that was 12 years old and sold programs, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I'm not standing for it. What the H? Brought to you by Medicare Misty. Open enrollment now, no charge for her services. Get with her before it's too late. They close in December. So open enrollment is now for Medicare.
I've been in business actually 19 years this year. I've been in the community since 1993. You're getting a lot of information. Unlike when you were working, they made the choice for you. Now you have to make the choice. Come to us and let us help you make it easy. Call Medicare Misty, MedicareMisty.com or 423-777-5577. Let us help them sleep at night.
And we call her Medicare Misty.
Do you remember it wasn't that long ago that the complaint about Neyland Stadium was that older people, and I think this ties into our Medicare Misty spot, would say, sit down. You got to sit down. I'm trying to watch the game. You can't stand up the whole game. Ugh. I mean, I would much rather be known for being too loud than what Tennessee was known for. And that was, you had a bunch of older fans who had those season tickets, and they wanted you to sit down and shut up. I'll also say this. It was pretty bad under Derek Dooley when I tried to take my family there and my young kids, and the football was so boring. We wanted to move next to the band so we could hear the band, but the football was so boring that there were 3 people there, 2 college-age boys and a college-age female. And let's just say that they found numerous ways to share body fluid because they were on something. I don't know what, meth, acid. You know, I'm not a hard drug guy. Maybe you are and you could help me. But one vomited, one peed their pants. That's how bad, Caleb, the football was back then. It was just show up and see what happens. And
what you're saying is there's a line between being raucous. There needs to be a happy medium. You don't need to be. There's a line between being so insanely obnoxious you just like create chaos, like peeing in your pants, but you also don't need to be, as the kids now say, you don't need to be very demure or very mindful.
Those kids didn't care about the game. They just thought to themselves, let's do this new drug and let's go with a big group of people and it'll be trippy and it'll be awesome. And no, now the fans care and the students care. And that's saying something. I just listened to an interview with Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball, and he is tracking how much younger their audience gets. Guys, you almost lost an entire generation. My son has never seen Tennessee football be good until the past few years. And now you're getting that back. So it's exciting, and Chris Stewart can step off.